I rolled out an entire red carpet for my special guest because he is just awesome. If you haven't checked out the poster on the timeline, you should. That's Spice Drive. That's the hashtag, and Spice FMKE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Are you ready for a good chat? I've got my special guests in the building, and it's none other than EDGAR OBARE. Welcome to the Spice Drive.
Good to be here.
It's great to have you, and you're one of those guys who is with a limited profile, so to speak. If people wanted to Google you, they wouldn't find information about you. All it says is YouTuber.
Yeah.
You've made a living out of this. I'm going to be getting into your profile in just a bit, but first things first, are you having a good 2020?
Yeah, it's pretty busy, but
yes.
2020.
All right, so who is EDGAR OBARE?
Just a YouTuber.
Just a YouTuber.
YouTuber, Kenyan, who pretty simple.
Yes.
Loves the truth.
Yes. I can tell you love the truth because you have the conversations that people don't want to have. You make people very uncomfortable. Do you know that that's your reputation?
Yes, I do know. Very clear on that.
You're like, okay, this is what I do. I mean, you remind me of Perez Hilton, Wendy Williams, people that have built their careers on what people would like to say storytelling. Let me call it that. What made you start off as a YouTuber? What prompted you to pursue this as a career?
As a career, I guess I really loved telling stories.
Yes.
And I wanted to really use my creativity to get into film and tell stories because I find people very interesting.
Yes.
So I like the lessons you get from them and what can you learn from this other person's stories, or maybe you don't repeat the same mistakes, or you know if you're put in the exact same situation,
yes,
this is how we can handle it.
So telling real stories, authentic stories, but your angle is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. You get to dig a little bit more dirt and talk about people's lives. Yeah. You're a YouTuber, you're a storyteller, and you've profiled a couple of famous Kenyan celebrities. Let me call them that. And you've been known, you surface telling stories about people and some of their secret lives. How does that make you feel? Do you think that's popular?
It's pretty popular. It's the few that are affected might not like it, but it's pretty popular for the people on the ground, where these people sell them a certain lie, or they pretend to be this and that, but in their own lives,
that's not who they are. I mean, looking at your career and the world that you're in the business of tea. You serve tea every single day, and you've got clicks. You're one of the most recognized YouTubers in Kenya, and your particular style or format, or whatever you'd like to call it, is all about, digging beyond the profile of the people that you talk about. So you started off with one particular story. I'm going to let you share. What was the story that put EDGAR OBARE on the forefront?
I think the Terence story.
Yes.
That really got people keen on what I'm doing.
Yes.
They liked how I followed up the story, how we followed the clues, joined the dots, and even if someone is busy denying, I didn't do it.
Yes.
In the end, you catch them. So people liked how I told someone's story who would obviously be voiceless, because the people they're up against have big followings, and no one would believe a young girl saying this and this happened to them.
Yes.
So I did not like what they did to this young girl, so I talked about it.
So that prompts you to do what you do for a living. So you're more like the Robin Hood of the digital world. You're the one who gets to speak for the voiceless. You get to save people's lives with the stories that you tell. Sure. But on the flip side, there's other people who have a contrary opinion. They may feel like, why is it your job? Why do you feel so strongly about it being your job to tell these stories and to expose, let me use that quote unquote, to expose some of these people that you feel are telling lies about who they are? Why do you feel so strongly about it? Why don't you just let it be and just sit back and do something else? Why do you feel that you need to do this?
I think from the people I help,
yes,
and how you help them get their voices out. There are some people, I've been put in a position where I've given this influence and this integrity, and people find me credible. So if I don't do it, who else will do it? We have enough influencers and famous people who they don't do anything for anyone else.
Yes.
It's all about them and how they secure their bag. So will we keep on being like this where no one speaks up for anyone else, wants to help anyone else?
All right. So you're soft-spoken. You're actually not what I thought you'd be. And you're super tall. There's people who've never seen you in person, but of course they interact with you on your YouTube page, on your YouTube channel. So do you think that there's a danger in the stories that you tell? Because not everyone's going to be happy about this, especially the people that, have their stories out there.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you sleep at night, Edgar? How do you sleep at night?
Like I sleep fine. I've always been able to sleep, but you do get afraid.
Yeah.
I do get threats to be sued. I do get death threats,
Mm.
and it's, I guess, part of the job.
Mm.
I think for people, they realize if it wasn't the truth, if it wasn't true, they wouldn't be so bothered.
Yes.
But because they feel it's so truth, and they don't want to hide, they can't hide from it, and they can't wish this away. So that's why they're so pressed.
Yes.
But I really, like, my best situation for me would be we actually sit down with these people and they make amends to whoever they hurt.
Mm.
Like, I don't need to actually tell a certain story.
Yes.
But the people who are not being heard, I would like them to actually get a chance to end their day in front of these people and to say their truth, and they work it out. Like, that would be my best case scenario.
Wow. I mean, you literally are the Robin Hood of the digital world. I mean, when you sum it up like that, I mean, you actually speak as if you're coming from a good place, and yours is just to tell the stories the way they should be told in a credible way, and also to give, you know, different opinions on things. I'm going to be getting into that in a bit, but first, just let's throw it back. You mentioned you love 90s music. Tell us about your background. Where are you from? What's your journey like? If you weren't a YouTuber and you weren't famous on the Kenyan entertainment scene, what would Edgar OBARE be doing?
My background's simple. Grew up in Zimmerman.
Yes.
Nairobi here.
Yes.
Grew up very normal background, average mid-income family.
Yes.
Went to good schools. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I'd probably be doing computers,
Yes.
programming or making apps and software.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I think a lot of people, my age especially, you go to school and you're told, finish school, you'll get a job.
Yes.
That is no longer true.
Yeah.
It takes much, much more. So really young people should be advised and encouraged, do something you love. Do not go waste so much time in school trying to chase someone else's dream. Or something you've been told, this and this works. It might not work for you.
It may not work.
No.
So would you say that, you know, you're happy in the work that you're doing? Would you say that you're proud of the work that you're doing? You know, when we started off like 10, 15 years ago, when people said, I've got a YouTube channel, the popular searches would be unboxing, song covers and things like that. Now it's transitioned to channels like yours. Do you think that there's a future in that business?
There's big future in it.
Yes.
It's very powerful, the stories we tell and the kind of things we tackle. It's not so... Traditional media will not cover it. Like traditional media, they focus maybe on politics or big wigs, but who tells the normal people's stories? Or who... It needs to be relatable. It needs to see a face to it.
Yes.
I'm also not a company.
Yes.
So people are more likely to relate to me better. And that's why people would come to me stories more than they'd come
Yeah.
to Pasha or
Yeah.
Gafla.
Yeah.
People like working with other people who, this is a face, looks trustworthy. So there's a big future in it where I guess we get to tell stories and change narrative and things that happen in this country or abroad.
Yeah.
So that people understand maybe they're not alone in things they go through.
Yes.
If you go through something, there are people who can listen to you, and it can be fair.
Yeah.
No
I like
one
that.
sort
I mean, you're talking about credibility, authenticity, and the fact that people can put a face to the stories that they read. We'll talk about the commercial angle to this, and maybe for some reason, there's a lot of people on the timeline who feel that maybe that's what drives you. We're going to be getting into that in just a bit. It is 10 minutes to top of the hour. I'm hanging out with Edgar OBARE, and you're actually way more soft-spoken than I thought you'd be. You seem like a pretty nice guy.
chill.
I know, right? But, you know, I'm looking at some of the, you know, feedback that I get, you know, right alongside your name. And some people say, he's not a good man. He's not kind. Why is he so stuck? All right. And so adamant about putting out people's personal lives in there. People get hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you ever consider that at the back of your mind and look at it as, okay, fine, I want to be Robin Hood. I want to do this. I want to do that. But how can I do this without hurting people? Do you ever think about that?
I always, every time I think about the story when I get info, like some things, sometimes people are not there for you. So they might also send me information that is really too personal.
Yes.
They talk about tragedies in your life or things that happen to your parents. Or most of those things you don't even see because I also filter.
You also filter
I also
heavily.
you don't even see some topics that you never even, and you will never.
Yes.
So I do consider, and that's why I DM and message whoever I'm talking about. And I come from a place, okay, this one told me this side of the story, so what's your side of the story?
Yes.
And like I said, my hope is that you'll actually open up and we talk about it rather than show your arrogance or show your ego and let me run a story which is one side of it, and you think, oh, and the other person is too small to say anything, or you can't affect me, like you're below me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. You're very proud of the work that you do. For you, it's all about giving a voice to the voiceless. But you've been rubbing people off the wrong way lately, and you're trending today.
Somehow.
You're trending today partly because of the work that you do. How does that make you feel?
It's interesting. I didn't expect it.
Yes.
But yeah, people want to talk about, and I hope even as I trend, they actually talk about the topics I bring up.
Yes.
So that it's a conversation. I didn't just make a video for nothing. So they can talk about how infidelity is rampant, corruption, how things happen in Kenya.
Yes.
So I'd rather, even if they want to talk about me, they talk about my stories as well.
All right. So would you think that you are very deliberate and intentional in the kind of choices that you tell because you know they're clickbait? Do you think that also represents the kind of audience that we're talking about today? When you look at the content that people consume, people are more attracted to gossip, the bad news, the controversy, who's got a side piece, who doesn't. Those are the kind of stories that I think people in your business feel that that's what people want to see, people want to read. So is it deliberate that you choose those kind of conversations because you feel that that will tap into your audience? What does that say about us today?
It is very deliberate. The audience actually decides what kind of content you make.
Yes.
So you have to realize that fact that, like, I can make a video about corruption or the government, and I can make a video about a celebrity cheating. They will click on the celebrity cheating way faster.
Wait a minute. So the one that gets the clicks is stuff like infidelity,
side chicks,
fights.
Someone insulted this one, someone embarrassed this one.
Yeah.
So you have to realize that angle. Like, it's just how the society is. So you really try to drive a lesson or a teaching in that kind of content. You still tell it, but you tell it in a way so that when someone hears it, they can learn something from it. So it's not just, okay, this and this cheated on this one. So you drive in the message you're trying to portray in such kind of stories.
Yes.
Because you cannot help what people click on.
So in other words, you're probably saying that, let me get this straight. Part of what you create is driven by the needs of the consumers. And you're saying that this is what people want. This is who we are. But we hate to admit that this is what we're interested in. So if you put up a video about climate change or the fact that the East African community will integrate and some of the steps that have been do you think that's a worthy... Nobody cares about that?
Nobody cares. Nobody will watch.
Nobody will watch.
You even see on Instagram.
Yes.
A girl can be doing environment. Another girl is posting her body. Who has the bigger follower account? Who is more popular? So
what you're doing is the lesser evil of tapping into what you feel has more clicks.
You tap into what they want,
yes,
but you also drive your message in it.
Yes.
It's the way you package it. Because you cannot help what people want. But there has to be a bigger story. The story has to have a bigger value. If a girl watches a story about cheating, then she will learn, so this is how married men lie to girls. The young girls, they don't know he was married. They lie to you. The people think that the girls who cheat, like they knew what they were doing, blah, blah, blah. But if her only mistake was falling in love with the wrong man. So
the content is available and all you do is curate it and put it up on YouTube. But it's the things that people are doing today. I find that a little twisted when you think about it. It's unfortunate, the world that we're living in. And I can see a couple of comments here. Someone is saying, well, it means that EDGAR is banking in on the negative. How do you guarantee that people are actually learning from the stories that you tell? How can you tell?
I can tell because like I'm the one creating it. So
yes,
even I when I watch it, like I need to know, like
you're like, this is bad.
Like for me, like I have to put out like good work. I have to know that there's something to learn from this. So it's the person behind it. I could also just put out the dirt and just leave it like that. But you hear me talking about things like gender violence or talking about infidelity in marriage, cheating as no excuse when someone is telling you, I cheated because this, that is nonsense. Cheating is cheating. They made a choice. It was not the devil. It was not, this partner did something to me, so I retaliated back.
I hear you. So what would you say to people who actually think that it's a personal agenda, what you do on your YouTube channel? You see, when I started out in this business, the mic was sacred. You needed to be part of something to put out, your story. You didn't just get the microphone. You didn't just get the camera. But today we're living in a world where everyone all you need to do is just, put it up. There's that freedom of speech. Do you think that comes with a huge responsibility? What are the boundaries? Because some people may actually feel that there are no boundaries. And how do you justify the stories that you tell? But you've pointed that out. But there's some that would argue that there's a personal agenda to the, how do you draw a line between being Robin Hood, because we've established that. Guys, I'm sitting next to Edgar. He's the sweetest guy you'll ever meet. I don't even know what this reputation is all about. Versus, I am just trying to do good through the stories that are happening, through what we are. I am using this content to educate and to uplift and empower. What would you say about that? Because sometimes this can look very personal, and just to settle the score, how do you convince the audience that that's not who you are and that's not what it's about?
It's not a personal agenda, since I don't know these people. They don't know me. We've never met. Know nothing about them.
Yeah.
To me, they're all just stories. Stories we're telling on the channel. And yes, in YouTube, maybe in media, you had to get to a certain level, but YouTube also has the same cutoff point. So
yes,
you can pick up a camera, but no one will listen to you. There are many YouTubers get 5 views, 10 views. I also saw they are getting 50 views. No one is watching. Then my mother was not subscribed. So
I like that.
It actually takes a lot of work and determination to get to my level and levels that other people have gotten to. It takes a lot. So for this being that people think it's a personal agenda, and people just imagine it in their heads that there's someone who's just trying to do the right thing. No one is paying me. I don't hate anyone. There's nothing. When you say something wrong happening, don't you try to make it right? And I'm just the person I have a mic and a camera and people listen.
And you've decided to do that. But maybe it's the manner in which that people are finding a little bit like, why is he so intent on getting to the bottom of it? And I'm talking about both sides of the table, or whoever you're exposing. I've got more feedback coming up, and of course you can tag my guest. That's at Edgar OBARE. You're on every social media platform.
Yep.
And of course, the hashtag is Spice Drive, Spice FM KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. What do you do for a living? I'm going to be dropping the record rumble, and I am curious to see who Edgar OBARE is going to be voting for. I am curious because I'm trying to figure out this man. One of those guests that you're like, okay, it's an interesting one. 10 minutes past 4, and we're having a good time. Wanjala, I can see more of your comments coming through, and Moonday, you're listening in on that hashtag. You're saying, I'm very proud of my hustle because it is the one that keeps my family well. You're listening in from Kisumu, and you are tuned in. I want to know what you guys do. Who are these people on the timeline? What do you do for a living, and are you proud of your hustle? Or is it just about the coin? You would literally do anything. Let me know. What do you think about today's treadmill topic, OBARE? Do you think today's generation, or generally life as is, forces us to do whatever we can? Any djembe that you can pick, as long as you go out, bring something back. Does it matter what you do? Do you love it? Are you proud of it? When you sit on a table with about 10 people, are you the first one to talk about what you do for a living? Do you think that people are willing to share what they do, how they earn their bread?
I think in Kenya we have a situation where, since unemployment is so rampant, people are desperate. And since people are so poor, so they have the mentality, I need to do whatever it takes to do this. But when you start making money, when you get to a certain level, you start thinking, I need to find something that is fulfilling, because that is what will make you wake up every day and go to your job and do it to the best of your ability.
That's where the passion is.
Yeah, so if it's not for, because even statistically, you spend, I don't know, 80% of your life at work. So if you really do not love it, and you don't find it fulfilling, it will get depressed, you get tired, you want to do your best.
There's absolutely no drive. Would you step back from Edgar OBARE, the YouTuber who needs a couple of clicks, and be Edgar, that guy, the guy that I'm experiencing right now, the guy that loves Usher, and he's always about a good chat. He's got a nice spirit, Would you? How do you separate Edgar the person and realistically look at the damage that can be caused by the stories you tell? What comes first? What's your priority?
I think at the end of the day, I'm human,
Yeah.
and the story is not bigger than the person. If you see this is somebody who's unstable, they probably can't take this.
Yes.
And there've been celebrities, they've talked to me, and like someone is, let's say, there's this celebrity
Yeah.
cheating with another girl, and they do it very publicly. And now the baby mama who's at the home, she knows but doesn't want this story out
Yes.
because she knows her boyfriend is abusive
Yes.
and doesn't want the shit from the shitstorm.
Yes.
So she says, please,
The sugar honey iced tea.
yeah. So please don't post it, and think of it in this way. You posting this just creates more problems. He'll think that maybe it came from me, and blah blah. So I do listen to people. We talk, we negotiate, we see how do we fix this properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've not made every story I have. So I think that's what people do not understand.
Well, I'm terrified. I mean, I really, I'm chatting with you. I want to be friends and I want to hang out, but I'm not sure because I don't know if we can still kick it and have a good time. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Speaking of which, there are a couple of ladies who probably would like to get close to you, and they're probably curious if you are in a relationship. And given the nature of your job that you love so much, it's obvious. Are you dating? Are you single? What's your situation?
Single and busy.
Single and busy.
Single and busy.
Do you think some women would be terrified to hook up with you because of what you do?
It depends what kind of woman you are.
Yeah.
And I think the people, like I said, only the guilty are afraid. Everyone else are, we're boys, we're chill. We say hi. They don't have anything to hide, so what is there to talk about shit? So they don't fear.
So in a situation where it doesn't work out with a girl that you're dating 6 months in, she probably has 11 toes. She's not perfect, but she's got this deep dark secret. She's got 11 toes. She's not perfect. And, would you put that up? Would you?
Why would I put it out? It's between me and her.
I'm just curious. Well, if you heard it for yourself, ladies, Edgar OBARE is not taken. It depends on the kind of lady you are. 07190122600. Okay, I've got more music on the way. Plus, I just want to say thank you so much for coming through.
Sure, it was a pleasure.
And as you said earlier on the record rumble, the best bet is Marvin Gaye. You think he's going to take it?
All the way.
Why are you so drawn to him? What's the difference between the music then and now?
Marvin Gaye is like, I'd like to be serenaded like that. Like if I was a girl like that puts me in the mood.
Yes, let's get it out.
That just makes me.
That just puts everything in the right place.
Sets you up, right?
I love that. I love that. Yes, right here it's all about that sugar and spice and everything nice. I just want to say thank you, and I hope Edgar OBARE's favorite team wins. Clara Kadongo, you're listening in from Nyeri, and you are saying, not touching that dial, loving the show. I can also see Wiseman has already checked in. You're saying today's record rumble is on fire, real fire. Yes, I'm good. I'm hanging out with Edgar OBARE. It has been a great interview. Whatever you missed is on your timeline. Spice FM KE, a little bit about his personal life, and the fact that he's single. Plus, it's not personal. What he does, it's not personal.